Hey, welcome to the Black Millennial Mom podcast, season 2. Each episode can get a tad bit spicy. So if you got some little ones around, this is a really good time for you to slide on those headphones and enjoy the episode of the Black Millennial Mom podcast. You know, I thought it was stressful just having one child and trying to work multiple jobs, but I had to take a second and really evaluate my situation because there's people out there saving lives on a daily and having little ones just like me. Today, we are joined by 3 amazing firefighters right here in the Denver community. Shout out to Marcus, my girl Brittany, and Javon. Now, I want to start with more so talking about how long you've been in and the beginnings of your situations as becoming a firefighter, because a lot of people don't understand what that could look like. So Marcus, we'll start with you.
All right, I'm in my 5th year, having a blast, best job I ever chose. I'm sure these guys would agree. And how I got started into it, actually it was my son, my oldest son.
Really?
Yeah, watching the show Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my
I
goodness.
Saw, honest to God story.
And how many do you have?
3.
3 total. Okay,
Yeah.
And your oldest was watching, you just one day said, you know what, Paw Patrol
Watching
is my
Paw Patrol, and I saw how he gravitated towards the show, and I was like, you know, it'd be cool to probably get into it. And I had a friend on the job and started that way. And I've had my other 2 kids since being on the job.
Okay.
So he was my only one at the time before I got on.
Wow.
So.
Britt, what about you?
I've been on since 2019.
Okay.
So, and I actually started I started this process not having kids, sort of. I actually got pregnant a week before my academy.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
What a time.
Yeah, it was very stressful, but a blessing in disguise, really. So it's been a lot of challenges, but I love it.
So 1 total for you. And Javon, what's yours look like?
So I have 3 total. My journey, I've only been on for 1 year.
Okay.
Well, it'll be a year in June, so I'm pretty new to service. But early on in my life, when I'm a little bit older than the normal probie, if you want to call it that, I started my journey later on. I had a 14-year career with Coors before making this jump this way.
Nice.
But it's something I wanted to do. Having more time with the family was extremely important to me. You know, my boys are 5 and 6 years old, and I have a bonus baby who's 14. So it's kind of like that real impressionable time in their life. So it was just looking at everything, reevaluating everything, and my career there was awesome, and I loved it. It was time to do something different. So fire service was what I wanted to do. I was able to come back around, and it just worked out for me.
So when we talk about becoming a firefighter, like Marcus had mentioned, it was Paw Patrol. That was the click for him. What was the click for you that you guys wanted to get in, Brittany?
It was a couple different things. Actually, my husband's dad was in the fire service previously before I knew him. And then I had a couple buddies that went fire, and just hearing their stories. And then it was kind of started out like, oh, I want to see if I can, like the physicality portion. And it was kind of a joke. My husband was like, well, if you pass the physical portion, like, I'm gonna make you apply because that's kind of hard to do. I'm like, oh, okay, you know.
It motivated you essentially.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
oh, you don't think I could pass?
Yeah, I'm like, I could do this. Like, I'm in the gym. Like, let's try it. So,
yeah.
And then that kind of fire just burned in on like learning about the job, doing auto extrication, doing like different burn buildings through my EMT school. I was like, oh, I want to do this. This is cool.
And then for you, what was the motivator?
It was real young. I would pass a fire station walking to and from school every day, and just the lights and sirens and all of that just really just stuck with me at a young age. That was like what I wanted to do. Other than, you know, most kids, I want to be in the NFL or NBA and all that. I had those dreams as well, but being a firefighter was that too. I think just being able to help people too. I've mentored for years, and it's like doing that in a different aspect. It's really, truly like helping lives in their worst day, and I enjoy doing that.
Right. Now, for Marcus, you already had a child at that time and going into it. And for Brittany, you hadn't had a child yet going into this situation. Javon, you had kids as well. So I guess this question goes for Javon and Marcus. Going into this, knowing what firefighters do for a living and having to basically risk your own life possibly and potentially, did that ever come into play when you thought to yourself, well, as a parent, am I ready to risk my life with a young child at home?
Honestly, I didn't think about death till probably academy. I don't
Really?
know. Yeah, I completely skipped over that. Just completely forgot that's a part of the job. You know,
Like it
for
was
say,
Yeah.
I guess I didn't read all the requirements before.
Not the requirements. Right.
But, you know, once I got into it, it was like, you know, they teach us safety, they hound safety, they hound this. So I got a little bit more comfortable as I was going through academy, and it was just, I'm gonna be a protector of all. So
Yeah.
my kids, and then just help the city out.
And then what about you?
I think for me, like, you know, being older going into it, that was definitely something I thought about. So did some research on it, and you know, you start to find that there's a lot of these situations that may have been avoided if, you know, things were done a little bit differently. So I think awareness is really big, and that's something that they really preach in academy, is being aware of your environment before you step off the rig. Know what everything looks like, you know, to the best that you can. Don't get tunnel vision and just run in. You know, so it's like there's countering it, right? Like
Yeah.
there is that risk, right? But what can I do to mitigate that the best of my ability? So it's slowing down and really just using the tools that they've taught us.
Right. And Brittany, you know, coming in and not being in that situation yet, but then now you got a little one inside you. And now the reality, I think that motherhood thing, that internal clicks in like, oh, wow, this could get real. Obviously, you guys they're being talked about what could happen, the awareness of it. But was it ever like a scary feeling for you, like, oh my God, I might, you know, run into a situation with my child?
Yeah, well, especially in the beginning, because I didn't know, like, first baby, especially being pregnant and not being in the fire industry, I didn't know, but I just knew, like, being pregnant, you're not allowed to get your heart rate really high, you're not allowed to get your body heat really high. But my doctor at the time was like, you're good, you know, you're fine. So I'm going through the academy pregnant.
Wow.
And
How far did you go?
For that one, I went 7 weeks till my doctor finally told me, because I sent her live fire training studies, because I don't think she really understood what it entailed being in the academy.
The doctor.
Yeah.
They don't.
No, and
Great.
she realized,
This will be fine.
yeah. So it was scary because, you know, academy's not easy and it's hard, and we get our butts whipped every day, you know. So that was a little intimidating, and then finally she came back, was like, I don't think you should do live burns, you know, and I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I kind of figured you were gonna say that. So, but now it's good. It's like, it's more of I can be a vision for my daughter, and like what a woman can do and what a firefighter is, and like if you work for it, she can go for it.
That's amazing.
In life, you know. So it's easier.
You know, at one point in my life, I was inspired to be like some workout queen, right? And I had a personal trainer who actually was a trainer in the academy for firefighters. And so she would put me through some of the stuff that she would go through with it. I said, I didn't sign up for this. I did not ask to do none of these drills, whatever these tumbles down hills like you got going on. I didn't ask for it. And so, but what it shows me is that the stress that you guys go through the academy is not talked about enough. I mean, and that's just what I'm saying is just on a physical level. So for a lot of you guys still having kids while going through academy, that's the part where I want to touch on. The mental game for that for you guys, what was that like?
It was rough. I had to rely on my wife as well. So it was like those nights that we had academy. So I had my son, my second son, kind of during academy, like right before I got out. And then I had my daughter during probation, like kind of when I got off probation, 13 months apart. And it was tough. I had to rely on her, especially during our probation years, where it's like the days I was off shift, and it's like, yo, you gotta, or going shift, I should say, like you gotta watch him. I can't wake up and help you get milk or set everything up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I love you, but I can't help.
Did it
right
make you
now.
feel some kind of way? Like, dang, I'm not really like, I'm missing out on this. I can't really be in my kid's life this heavy right now because I'm going through this part right now.
Honestly, nah, because the third day I was Superman for the city.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to go help the city.
Yeah.
I'll help my family these other 2 days.
Right.
But nah, honestly, I did. Because I know she struggled. I know it was rough on her. And just not being able to help. But her understanding definitely helped me.
Yeah. What about you, Britt?
I think the hardest part of it for me was I jumped out of my first academy and had the baby, and then had to go back to an academy when I was 4 months postpartum. So that was a big emotional thing, you know, just being emotional postpartum and being weaker body-wise and being away from my little baby. Like, it was like, oh my God, like trying to go through an academy with also having my infant at home. Like, I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but it was just day by day, we got through it.
So you remember those stresses? Like it was painful at times.
Oh yeah, I would try to do video calls like during lunches because, you know, like she's 4 months old. I miss my baby. Like I just want to stay at home with her. I don't want to go do this.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather go back to the house.
Yeah, so that was stressful, but we have a lot of family in town, and my husband was awesome with it. So we had a lot of help.
He was super dad in those moments.
He was. He definitely. He took the reins at home, which was awesome.
Do you remember any moments for him where it was like, okay, I can't, like 4 months is a really young age to have a baby. Like I remember when I had my son, I was left alone for one night at 3 months and I lost it. I was like, what time did you say you were coming back? You're up the street, but can you turn around? Like those were, so I can't even imagine a dad like doing it too. And he didn't have children beforehand, right? How was he during that?
You know what? He's a silent soul. So I'm sure internally he was like,
right.
No, but he never outspoke with it. Like he was good. I think he kind of calmed me. Like, this is good for you. Like, I got you. We got you. So it was good.
Javon, how was your experience like?
It was definitely challenging. It's both mentally and physically exhausting. You know, for me, it was an 18-week academy.
Wow. So
it's a long time. And it's Monday through Friday. You wake up really early. You get back. You don't know when you're going to get home. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6. And pretty militant about, you know, like bedtimes and those type of things. So like my kids have a bedtime routine, 7:30 at night. 7 o'clock they start their bedtime routine. 7:30 they're in bed. So, you know, if I got back at 6:30 p.m., I get an hour with them. And, you know, little kids, like they didn't sign up for this. So, you know, it was showing in some of their, just the way they were reacting and responded with behavioral aspects of it. It was tough for them. So that part was probably the biggest challenge for me, other than the physical and mentally draining. It was just seeing that change and how it impacted them. So it's like I had to come home and I wanted to be dad and show up for them in that pocket of time. But, you know, one of the things that a lot of people don't understand with Academy is it is the physical, but then there's the academic aspect of it too.
Wow, I didn't know that part. It's really intense with the academic side?
Absolutely. So you have to pass a weekly test every Friday, and it's on multiple chapters.
Jeez.
So the book is, I don't know how many pages, but it's like a brick. It's huge.
Really?
So
this is like the call center days for me. Y'all picking it up, like full on schooling.
So you have to study at night.
Yeah.
You know, so you have this long day, you get home, be dad for a little while, and then it's right into the books. Because I have to pass the test on Friday because you fail a couple tests, you're out. So there's a lot of stress that you can put on yourself, but just the job itself is stressful and everything in between. And they really challenge you in Academy to make sure that this is what, you know, you want to do. Because I think, you know, like Marcus was saying, I had no idea I was signing up to, you know, for that initially. It's a lot of that. And, you know, in Academy, like, wow, you really have to stay up on your academics. You really have to learn the job outside of the job.
And an 18-week academy situation seems just like never ending.
It does.
At this point, I don't know if I can handle 18 weeks of it, going back and forth.
But it's strong.
Adding the various ages with that academics.
Yeah.
It's a lot tougher.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
You know, Brittany kind of talks about how her man kind of had the heads up of like, okay, let's see if you pass the physical, you know what I'm saying? Her man knew kind of what was gonna look like. Now, when it comes to Javon and Marcus, when your situations, your significant others, did they realize how intense this was gonna be, or were they just more so supportive, and then once they started seeing it, they were like, oh my God, this is a lot. What are we doing?
Yeah, she didn't know. She didn't know at all.
She was not signing up for that immediately.
No, she didn't. But she understood that at least my physical, my body was tired, my mental was tired. She knew all that stuff, and so she just catered to that and definitely helped me. And it grew on her. So,
after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely does. You don't know what it is until you're really in it. And you can explain it and talk about it, but it's never, you know, until you live it, you don't know it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, having a strong support system was extremely important. And I did my best to try to show up, even when I was tired. And that's the message you want to send to your especially the boys too, is you know, you got to fight through, the tough stuff. But there was, I want to say, probably 5 or 6 days I got home and I was just done. I couldn't shower and lay down. That was it.
When it comes to your guys' schedules now, like what is it still like 12, 15-hour days? Like what do schedules now look like for you guys? Obviously you've now gotten out of academy. You guys are more certified in your situations. What do the days look like?
24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah, 24 on, 48 off.
Okay.
So you're on one whole day and you're off 2 days.
Okay.
And in Denver, we have a Kelly Day, which is a day that you're assigned during the week. And whenever our shifts rotate, and whenever your shift falls on that day, you don't work. So.
And it's the same for both of you guys too, correct? When we talk about being in relationships, having children, and doing high-stress jobs like you guys, the mental game of what you guys are doing, your professions that you guys chose, is different than someone like myself who gets to, just jump on a radio station really quick and then, go about my day. Things that you guys see can be extremely intense. How do you deal with that mental stress and then come home and be super mom and dad that same night or that next day? How does that work? Is there something, like, do y'all have a structure or plan? Like, I'm gonna knock twice to tell you it's a bad day in my home. Like, what does that look like?
I'll let Brittany go on this one.
Yeah.
We'll piggyback off her answer.
Right.
I don't know. We don't really have a plan. Like when I come home, I kind of take over parenting and my husband goes to work, and it just kind of depends. If we have a bad night and I'm tired, that's when it's like it's hard to like keep cool, especially with a little 3-year-old that just wants to go and I'm like, I want to sleep but I can't, so I try to keep her busy as much as possible, because try to go to the park, or if it's in the winter, try to go do something just to kind of like keep her busy, keep her active, so we're not just chilling on the couch or something, which is what I would probably want to do some of those days.
Take a nap.
But yeah, it's just keep her focused on being a kid.
So there is no real structure. You just kind of check in as mom mode and it goes.
Yeah, I mean,
no matter if
no
it's a bad
structure
day.
for me, at least. It's kind of, I mean, these guys would probably say the same thing. You don't really have a choice. Like, we're all human. You're going to have good days and bad days, but you're a parent. You got to be a parent. You can't have a bad day as a parent, almost. Like, you'll have rougher days and stuff, but you still got to show up. So do the best you can, really.
Right. Same situation for you guys, or was it a little bit different?
Yeah, like Brittany said, it depends on the night that we have on shift, but we sacrifice so much. We sacrifice our mental capacity even with our calls. So once you get in, it's parent mode, mom and dad. You just buckle up and go.
Gosh, so it's so interesting hearing even in your guys' situations, it's the same way as a normal career job. You don't have that time to kind of check out, oh, I need a day, or I'm gonna go to the spa today now, that's my one day off. You're just on go mode as a parent.
It makes you, I would say this job makes you appreciate your blessings, and our blessings is our kids. So we see other people's bad days, so when we go home and we see our kids smiling, we see our kids crying, it's a blessing to us because somebody yesterday just had a bad day.
Right.
So I think we just shift that and go right into parenting because it's a blessing.
Right.
So.
We do have the ability to talk with our crew too. So, all 4 of us are on the scene. So, if you do have something that's challenging or something that that's kind of sitting with you, you just talk with your crew about it. And sometimes you do it in a different way than what most people on the street would kind of
And I was
go
going to
about
ask
it.
that too, like, again, seeing what you guys see and dealing with what you guys deal with, even with you postpartum, coming out and just going straight to work, what does that aspect look like as far as the mental health? Is there something that's offered to you guys on like a different structure where it's like you guys have those resources to your full accessibility pretty quicker, or what is it like?
I mean, we do have the resources available to us, so it's honestly being self-aware and understanding like where you're at, because I don't know about y'all, but for me, it's like, you kind of just push things down, and you just have to be aware if this starts creeping up on you. Like, I need to just go listen to music for 15 minutes or need to just check out a little bit. Or if you do need to speak with somebody, the city does provide that for us free of charge, which is really awesome. I think mental awareness and those conversations that we should have been having a long time ago, we're more comfortable with it now, and being in this alpha male kind of female position, it's really preached to us that you don't have to be strong all the time. It's okay to just talk to somebody. It doesn't make you weak.
That's being put out there now more so?
Absolutely.
Really?
And they've even offered I know as far as Denver, I can't speak on other departments, they've offered it to our spouse.
Wow.
So as well, to help with us and kids, to
Wow.
help with what we deal with. Because again, like we can have a bad call come home the next day and just be mute. And you know, we don't want to tell our wife HIPAA and things, we can't.
Yeah.
So it does wear some things, but they offer those services, and it's been great with Denver. So, but like Javon said, you got to self-utilize it.
Yeah.
So if you don't speak, nobody will come. So definitely self-utilize it.
That's good to know. When we talk about relationships and being in academy and then going to actual schedules of 2 days on, 1 day off, you might not see your significant other for a couple days. Now, I'm one of those people, you better be checking in every 5 minutes, and not seeing my spouse would probably make me feel some kind of way. How do you guys in your profession, keep the spice in your relationship? Do you insert like fire hoses in your home, in the back, climb ladders, put on the outfits? Like, what does that look like?
Giving great ideas.
I'm just saying,
right? Like I ain't even
I think
thinking
out.
that, right?
Borrow some things and go home.
Right? There you go.
Book you reading.
Hit Home Depot real quick. But how do you keep the date life and the spice in your relationships when your schedules is crazy? Like, that's insane.
I think, and like every couple's is different. Like me and my husband are kind of that couple that could just spend every waking moment with each other and be fine. And some people are like, yeah, I need a break from you.
Yeah.
Like I want to miss you. And like this job kind of like makes that almost,
Yeah.
And so it's like you have that day off, and then it's like, let me tell you about my day.
Right.
And we don't really text during the day, so I don't really I'll check in at night before I go to bed, and we'll say, hey, how's your day? Cool, whatever. And then really we talk about my day or his day or whatever the next day. So I think that kind of helps us, because it's like you get a 24-hour break, and then it's like, oh, I miss you. Like I didn't get to see you all day yesterday.
Right.
I mean, personally, that's for me.
Yeah, so that break in your guys' time frame actually kind of helps the relationship, because it's like, I didn't get to see you, so now it's time to spice it up.
Yeah.
Okay. What about for my fellas? What is that like?
I would say the same. The break. My wife is kind of in and out. She just wants to know that I'm around and just touch her, through a text, because she's more like you. What are you doing? What are you?
Where are you at?
Yeah, and I'm more stone, where it's like, yo, I'm at work. But I think the mix definitely helps us.
Yeah.
So.
I think for me, I'm still new,
Yeah.
so I'm on probation. You have to earn your stripes, so I don't get a lot of the freedoms that once you're actually in the firehouse and it's your house and your crew. So I'm still trying to navigate that, and I've on probation you go to multiple different houses, so I can't really get on this routine,
Right.
Because some houses are faster at night, meaning you're running a lot of calls after midnight, which means that following day my energy's a little low.
Right. So my tips could help you.
It could.
It
I
could
might go
save
get
you.
some
What you saying?
ladders and hoses and all that.
Good. I did something right.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to close out with is, when we talk about people who want to get into this industry, it's important for them to know what they're getting ready to face and what this really looks like. People sign up. We've had other episodes with nurses and things of that nature, where they're explaining to them more so that one tip to know before you get into it, because this is kind of the long hold when you go into these situations. So what advice would you give someone who has kids, maybe possibly wants to have kids? What's that thing that they should know in your industry as they get ready to sign up?
Every day is different. Every call is different, whether it be the same type call. Every day is different. You won't see the same thing twice. I understand that this job is a lot of ebb and flow, and if you're able to be constant with yourself, you're able to handle it.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of hard to say get prepared for the job, because you really don't know. It's like I had a lot of people ask me, well, are you going to be okay seeing like some of the stuff that you'll see? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know until I see it. I think so. But so that's kind of hard. But for me, like I have said it like many times, I get to play stay-at-home mom and have a career. So like I get to provide for my family, but also be with her like all the time, just because our job allows it. 2 days off.
Right.
And then with our Kelly Day, having 5 days off in a row. So it's kind of like the perfect piece. And I know like some people have a hard time oh, well, you don't get to sleep at home. Like, you're gone for 24 hours, sometimes 48. That's hard. And I'm like, yeah, but you get used to it. And I get to spend way more time with my kid than probably a lot of other careers.
Right.
So it's a blessing, really.
Love it.
Yeah.
Similar to Marcus, it is a dynamic job, so it's every day is different. I think self-awareness is huge with that, just really checking in with yourself, because every aspect from academy to probation to being on the street, like, you really need to be self-aware of where you are and understanding, like, the why you're doing what you're doing. Because when days are really bad, or probation or in academy, when you don't want to do it anymore, which you'll have those days where you think about it, it's understanding that why and then recharging and going from there.
Parenting is hard, it's difficult, but what we're showing, hopefully, what you're seeing in this season is that if we can do it, so can you. From different career fields and professions, I want to say thank you to Marcus, Brittany, and Javon for coming through and showcasing what it's like to have a high-stress job, but still get it done as a parent. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
This podcast has been made possible by Colorado Connected and the Women's Foundation of Colorado.
Hey, thanks for watching and listening to the Black Millennial Mom podcast, season 2. If you are anything like me, you like to stay up to date on what's going on and seeing what's happening around me, find me on your favorite social media site, Instagram, Facebook, even Threads. Look for @YourGirlCedes. Wait.